Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew First Culture podcast. This is Jeremy, and as always, thank you so very much for spending some time with me today. Really appreciate that, and just to keep going with that appreciation, had a very big milestone for the podcast over the last week. It crossed over 100,000 downloads for the life of the podcast, and it's something that I haven't shared with a lot of people. I kind of mentioned it to a few of the guys at the firehouse last week, but I because it's one of those things where it's like it's almost weird. Do you show how proud you are and how much of a blessing you feel like it is, but at the same time risk what that looks like as far as like bragging or drawing attention to yourself. It's kind of one of those weird things that I've been struggling through. But honestly, that doesn't matter because anybody that has listened to me knows that that's not really who I am anyway. So I do want to throw that out there. It is a huge milestone, and it took a long time to get there. Honestly, the first year I did the podcast, the momentum was really amping up and doing. It was growing really fast, and then the next 2 years basically slowed way down, and for reasons I've shared over and over again, just reasons that I needed to step back for a while from all this stuff. And so, am I sorry that happened? No, I mean, I I hated losing that momentum, but those were choices that need to be made. So the kind of the getting that momentum going again, and getting things headed in a better direction again has been a little bit tough. So to me, really, that even amplifies how proud I am of it, and how blessed I am to be a part of it, because you look at that and that's a lot. I don't care what your metric is of grading things. Is it a lot compared to others? No, probably not. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't concern me or anything I'm doing. So uh, I just I look at that, and what that tells me is there's a lot of people out there that this platform has helped me reach, and hopefully in turn there's a lot of people out there that I have hopefully said something to add value to their life. And again, I say it over and over again, but that truly is you know a huge part of my purpose. That I feel like it's to use the message I've been given to do the best I can to add value to people every day. And so just wanted to throw that out there and say thank you very much for everybody out there that is listening, has listened. Especially grateful for those out there that have really stayed with the podcast the entire time and stuck with it. I'm so grateful for all of you who have shared it with others and used it as a way to start conversation with others. It's just very grateful, and I wanted to say thank you very much for making it what it is. So thank you for that. And now to get into why I am actually pushing record today. And it's basically going to undermine everything I just said because it's dealing with some things I have been fighting through lately, and some things that I've really struggled with. And I feel like, once again, I'm kind of telling on myself, and maybe being too honest about the things I'm going through in some people's opinion, but that's what I have to give. And so I'm going to try to do it in a way that both gives people some hope that they're not the only one dealing with it if there are others out there in the same situation, and hopefully give some words to get us back to that grounded state back to focused on in the right direction and end with some positivity, basically. But really, this is a hard subject to really be vulnerable about and honest about, because to be honest, it's embarrassing. It's it's I guess I would say even disappointing. And when I say that, I am disappointed in myself that this is even something that I have to struggle with, because it basically goes against everything that I would hope I was as a person. And so what have I been fighting then? And it's just a huge mix. And I'll just kind of throw it all out there. I've been fighting a huge battle of comparison, some envy, some jealousy, some inadequacy, some insecurity, and some imposter syndrome type things. All of these, they're all different in their own rights, but they're all pretty similar as well. They all kind of have that same connotation that you're fighting you, and it's a tough place to be in. And so I think at the base of most of these things, you have that insecurity, which it drives the imposter syndrome. It drives you to compare yourself to others. That just the inadequacy that you're feeling because you are insecure. And I look at that list of things I just said, and really probably the one that is most difficult for me to say is jealousy. Man, that's almost like a bad word on that list. I could look at the rest of that list and be pretty honest, pretty easy about dealing with most of those things. But to be honest, jealousy is a hard one to actually throw out there. It's one that I could probably easily just leave off that list because I don't want to admit it. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that's so much different than any of the others. But to me, it's just, most of the others that I listed, that most of the other things I'm struggling with, they're just almost mindsets or issues that I need to work through. But you look at jealousy, that's almost like a character flaw to me, or just almost opposite of integrity. You're just headed in the wrong direction, I guess, is the easiest way I can kind of word what I'm saying, or word what I'm thinking. And so that's a big one. And why is this? Why am I struggling with these things so much? And lately, like I said, this has been something I've really struggled through in a higher concentration, probably over the past couple weeks, monthish. And so it's definitely been at the top of my list of things that I have got to work on and work through. Very recently, I had a great conversation with a friend on this very topic, and got into some details that I am not going to get into here, but some details that it only secure conversations with close friends that you're gonna really dig into. And so that conversation, it really helped me, because they kind of gave me some stories and some instances where they have felt the same thing, or were fighting the same things. And so it was nice to hear that and see it, and to talk through it with them, to really dig in and discuss why we were feeling this way, and why these things just keep coming up. and how we can kind of go about fixing that. And, you know, I guess something that makes it even harder for me to look at is, what is it saying about myself? Because like I mentioned earlier, some of these things, it's embarrassing for me and disappointing to myself that I'm even struggling with this, because if I was truly somebody that was humble and thankful for what I have and focused on me and what I'm doing and what I've been sent here to do and my purpose and my mission, if that's truly who I am, then none of these things would be able to exist, because I feel like if that's who you are and you're focused on that mission and that purpose that you've been given, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter what else is going on around you. You are focused in the right direction. You are focused on the right things, and that's all that matters. And so I think that that's probably where I needed to start. And that's kind of what I would say I need to do to get me back to grounded in some solid, solid ground, to get going again and kind of refocus myself. And so this morning, just kind of looking through some quotes and some different articles to maybe get some different perspectives on what I was about to talk about and what I've been dealing with. And so here's a few quotes that really kind of said some things in better ways that I'm going to be able to say them, basically. So the first one is from Jonathan Garcia Allen. He says, mindfulness extinguishes envy and jealousy, since by focusing on the here and now, the anxiety for the should be disappears. And that's kind of what I was saying, right? When you are focusing on the right things, you aren't able to worry about the should be's. You aren't able to worry about the comparisons to other people, because you are focused on what you need to be focused on. The next one is by Wallace Stevens. He says, as soon as man abandons envy, he begins to prepare to enter the path of happiness. And so I think there's a lot to think about right there. When you're in a state of mind that is cultivating that envy, that jealousy, there is no happiness, right? Because we're so focused on what others are doing, and we're so focused on why is that happening there, but it's not happening for me. All of that comparison and everything else involved in this, it truly sucks the ability to be happy away from you. And so I think that's a great quote. We have to abandon that envy and that comparison and that jealousy if we want to truly experience happiness. So a great one right here. Here's another great one by Harold Coffin. Envy is the art of counting the blessings of the other instead of your own. So that one kind of hits me in the chest. It basically says that by being envious or jealous or struggling with comparison, you aren't being thankful for what you have. All you're focused on is what others have. And so, like I said, that one kind of hits me pretty hard, because that's the last thing I want to do. I want to be somebody who is very thankful for what they've been given, because I have been given so much. There's no way to ever repay any of it. Blessed beyond, well beyond what I deserve, way beyond. And so to think that I might be somebody that is overlooking those blessings, or who is just basically discounting them and not giving the true credit for them, it's a place I don't want to be. It is absolutely the opposite place that I want to be. Here's a good one from Napoleon. Envy is a declaration of inferiority. And I believe that is a very good definition of kind of what has brought me to this place, that insecurity. Feeling like, you know, do I really have any right to do this? You know, who am I to sit here and record myself talking and put it out there so that others can listen and watch? It's crazy. Why would I do that? I've got nothing to give. Definitely have nothing to give compared to a lot of these other people. That's a struggle. That's a real struggle. It's, you know, basically that imposter syndrome. The If you aren't familiar with imposter syndrome, and I'm not really either. It's something I've kind of I've looked into a little, but the more I read into it, the more I feel like it's something I do struggle with. So I probably should do more research for it. But really, to be honest, I think that the first time I ever kind of heard it used was on a podcast I did as a guest with Pete on the firefighters podcast. And he asked me a question about it. And I guess I really didn't know how much it kind of lined up with who I was. And so it's something I struggle with. But if you aren't familiar with that, just the kind of the best thing I saw earlier to quickly sum it up was from Dr. Susan Albers. And she says, imposter syndrome is the feeling that everyone else knows exactly what they're doing, but you feel lost. You have the fear that the people around you are going to figure it out, that you don't know what you're talking about, and you're going to be exposed for the fraud you are. So does that apply to anybody out there? You know, I think that kind of sums up what I was just talking about. That feeling that, you know, there's probably 30, 40, 50, I don't know, other just fire service based podcasts. And to be honest, I struggle all the time about, is there really somebody out there that's going to listen to mine over anybody else's? Why? What do I have that these other, you know, some of them big names of the fire service are putting out? You know, there's so much great content in those podcasts. Why would they listen to mine? So it is absolutely something I've struggled with. And before I go any further, I want to say this, because I don't want to give the wrong impression. You know, I've been doing the podcast for, I think, right at 3 years, coming up on 3 years. And it's incredible to see how many have started since I started. And that being said, you know, every time I see something that, you know, a new one or a newer one that's putting out episodes, if, you know, as long as it's good content that I feel like it is worth sharing, I'm going to share it. I want to reach out and see if there's anything I could do to help them in the process. I truly want to help those coming up behind me with whatever I can, so that they are best able to share that message. And so please don't take it as far as, you know, I wish ill upon these people. We're not in competition. Absolutely not. There may be other podcasts similar to mine, but there really is nothing that competes with this podcast, because this podcast is based in authenticity. And there is no competition for authenticity, because my authenticity is completely different from anything else just because of who I am. I have lived a different life than any other person out there. I have learned lessons and failed and grown and all in between differently than anybody else out there. And so my story, my message, my passion, my purpose, my mission is completely different from everybody else out there. Yes, there may be pieces that are similar. There may be, a lot of similarities, but nobody's going to have that same message that I do. And so as long as I'm authentic to that and to who I am, there's no competition. So I wanted to throw that out there because I don't want it to sound like, man, this guy hates all the other podcasts that competing with him. And I don't see it that way. I honestly don't. I truly don't. But I think this is something that really I need to think about a lot to bring me back to that grounded state. And it's basically, we tend to see people, who we look up to, or people that have achieved a lot, people that have done some big things. We tend to see them as they are, as in that's how they always been. This person has done so much. It's amazing. He must have always been here. That's kind of how we tend to see them. But what we're doing is we're neglecting to see what brought them to that place. We're neglecting to see the sacrifices that they had to make to get there. We're neglecting to see what they've suffered through to get there, what challenges they have faced, what failures they have made, and lessons they have learned to get there. So if we're seeing people and seeing them as just the picture of achievement, or the poster child of success and acknowledge and accolades and accomplishments, but we aren't truly recognizing what brought them there, what they went through to get there, that's really unfortunate, because that's where we can learn from them. We can't learn anything from them by seeing what they have right now. There's no value in that. I mean, maybe it's something that will help you add to your vision of the future. This is what he's got right here. That's something I would like to have. Okay, whatever. But that means nothing if you're not willing to go through what they went through to get it. So what are we overlooking when we put these people at a higher pedestal than ourselves? Are we just looking at the outcomes? Are we just looking at what was gained in the end? Or are we truly looking at these people or these organizations or whatever it is and seeing or asking or finding out what they went through to get there? Because that's what we need to know. If that's something that we're looking at somebody or something like we want to be there someday, or we're looking up to them, we've got to look at what they went through to get there. And then we got to ask ourselves, are we willing to do that, to face that, to live through all of that? Because if you're not, then don't ever expect to reach those levels. So again, that has been a really good reflection for me. Why I feel like it's okay to compare myself to others. Why I feel like it's okay to almost feel jealous of what other people have achieved, the heights they've achieved, or the compressed time frames that they did it in. It shouldn't matter to me. I've got to get myself focused back on what I need to be focused on, and that is the purpose. That is the mission. And by not doing so, I'm only hurting myself. I'm only taking away any chance of influencing or impacting anybody. And so, a great way to kind of sum that up, and before we kind of move on, is a quote from TD Jakes. He says that a blessing too early is not a blessing at all. So sit there and think about that for a second. A blessing too early is not a blessing at all. If we're sitting here, desiring the next thing, the next level, the next tier of followers or likes or whatever it is, and we aren't doing what's necessary to prepare ourselves from where we're at to where we need to be, then we're going to ruin the opportunity. If we just expect to be handed to things and we aren't truly ready for that to be handed to us, that's not a blessing at all, because we're going to lose that opportunity because we're not ready for it. Just because so-and-so is speaking to huge audiences all over America does not mean that I have any way. I'm not prepared for that. So I can't ask for that yet. I have to take advantage of the opportunities I am given to build up my skill level, build up my abilities to teach and speak, gain more confidence, polish myself in ways that, gosh, I need a lot of polishing. I can't ask for what others have because I have not gone through what others have gone through to get it. I think that's probably the best way I can sum it up. And like I said, it's all about that authenticity. If I am being authentic, I am in competition with nothing and nobody, because that's all I care about. This is my message that has come through my experiences, through my life, through my challenges, and made me who I am. So that's who you're going to get. So really, that's kind of the meat of what I have to share today. I hope that something I said kind of sparked some thoughts for you, gives you some hope if you are in similar situations. Because if this is something you're dealing with, you probably feel a lot like I do, like you're embarrassed because of it. But honestly, it's not anything that says you're a bad person because this might be something you're struggling through. It's just a situation we need to work through. It's just a situation we need to really look at, figure out why we're feeling this way, acknowledging that, yes, that this is how I feel. These are the things that make me feel that way. And start answering the question of why. Why are we dealing with this? Why are we feeling this way? Why are we comparing ourselves to others? Why are we envious of this? And then just start working to resolve that. And the best way I have found to resolve that is by looking at what we can control and looking at where our focus is. If it's something that we can't control, then let it go. If it's something that is outside of our mission and our purpose and our, just the message that we've been given to give, then it's not ours to have. We've got to focus on that. So I'll leave you with this. Every day we have a chance to impact and influence somebody's life. Every day. You may not see it, but I 100% believe every single day we have the opportunity to make an impact in somebody's life. But to take advantage of that opportunity, we have got to focus on our purpose and our mission. If we aren't focused on those things, then we're going to lose the opportunities that are given to us. We're going to miss them. And like I said, some of these opportunities you may not even know happen. It might just be something to where you're being true to yourself and your purpose and your mission and talking, and something that comes out of your mouth strikes somebody and impacts them. You don't have to be purposeful in your intentions and in your words and in your just visits with people to make a difference. Just being authentic is going to make a difference, because there are going to be people placed in your life that need to hear what you have to say. You can't control that. The only thing you can control is that if you are focused on the right things when it happens, so that you can say what you need to say to make that impact in their life. So thank you again for your time and just you're sticking with me. For those out there, if this is your first time or very new, thank you as well. I appreciate every single one of you. It means the world to me to still be able to do this. I just got back from Wisconsin over the weekend with one of my a good friend, Sean Duffy, doing a class over building your culture with him. It was a great honor. He's a stud, fire service stud, and it was pretty cool to work alongside him. But just to be in a room full of people that wanted to be there, that were just wanting to make a difference. You know, spending their Saturday, 8 hours on a Saturday to sit there and listen to a couple of knuckleheads talk. It's inspiring to me, because there are so many people out there wanting to make a difference. And I want to try so hard to take advantage of whatever situation I got. So I appreciate that. And anybody out there that I met over the weekend from Wisconsin, first time I've ever been up that high. I thank you for your hospitality and your patience sitting through the whole day and your attention. And I look forward to the next time, I can be up there or anywhere, really. I'm excited about this journey. So one more thing, I am going to be speaking at the North Florida Fire Expo in March, just not very far away. And so if that's, first of all, if you're in the area, come out. If you're not far from the area and it's not a bad trip, come out. If you're far away from the area like I am, I promise you it will be worth it. I know that I am going to try my best to do the same as I say and add some value to your life. But besides me, there are some incredibly talented and impressive people on that speaker lineup that I'm excited to meet and listen to myself. So lots of great things out there. Go look them up at northfloridafireexpo.com to check out the lineup and register. In the meantime, just like I always say, please like, share, comment, whatever you got, whatever you can do. It's so appreciated. And if you do leave a review, let me know and I will send you some stickers as a little token of appreciation. So again, thank you. Until next time, stay humble and do work.